John Cena appears on last night's WWE Monday Night Raw from Glasgow, Scotland, and says he's going to ruin wrestling and retire with the WWE Championship. CM Punk says he still works with children, a reference to his time in AEW, and is set to sign his WrestleMania contract with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins on SmackDown. The Usos reunite for a Raw tag team victory. Bianca Belair will be the special guest referee for a Women's World Championship match next week. Lyra Valkyria retains the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Several big matches and segments are confirmed for next week's edition of Raw from London, England. We've got the ratings for Friday's edition of SmackDown from Bologna, Italy. The Intercontinental Championship main event last night ends in chaos after the Judgment Day gets involved. An update on the backstage plans for the Chris Jericho feud with Bandito in AEW. El Grande Americano debuts last night on Monday Night Raw, making his in-ring debut. Vince McMahon reportedly still occasionally watches WWE TV. And we have the backstage reaction to the roast of WrestleMania being hosted by Tony Hinchcliffe. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with John Cena's desire to ruin wrestling in his retirement year. John Cena wants to ruin the sport of professional wrestling. John Cena appeared last night on Monday Night Raw in Glasgow, Scotland, after making his explanation for turning heel last week in Brussels, Belgium. Cena started off his promo by taunting the crowd, saying that he's turned the spotlight on fans and made it to where he can now rip them to shreds. Cena then ripped into last week's meme kid from his promo, laughing about the fact that it went viral. After enduring a "fuck you Cena" chant, Cena criticized the crowd for using profanity. The crowd took things a step further and chanted for Cena to shut the F up. Cena responded by continuing to break down fans, saying that they are making things very simple on him. Cena then took a moment to talk about the backlash to his signature spinner WWE Championship before saying that he's going to ruin wrestling for everyone by winning the title at WrestleMania 41. Cena finished the solo portion of his promo by saying that he's going to retire with the championship and make everyone forget about Ric Flair. Cody Rhodes eventually interrupted Cena to a major reaction. Rhodes questioned Cena's comments, saying that he has made a massive mistake by claiming that he's going to take the title. Rhodes laid out the title in front of Cena and offered for him to take it, but before anything could go down, Cena walked away from the situation. Rhodes came to a close on the promo by telling Cena his psychotic need to take the championship doesn't outweigh his right to keep it. The final comments from Rhodes rang throughout the arena as the American Nightmare told Cena that he will walk away from WrestleMania without the title and he would retire without the title. So, do you think John Cena is going to ruin wrestling forever? And what did you make of the promo and the John Cena heel turn so far? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. A reminder, we will be live for a watch-along and a post-show for next week's edition of Monday Night Raw. Now, let's talk about SmackDown on Friday, because we now know what CM Punk's going to be doing on the show. CM Punk is ready for WrestleMania. CM Punk started off his promo last night by saying he's a little pissed off, recapping his 2025 and emphasizing that Seth Rollins screwed him over at Elimination Chamber before calling Rollins a diaper piss baby. Punk even stated that he still works with children, referencing his infamous AEW All Out post-show promo from 2022. Punk proceeded to state that his match at WrestleMania is just business, taunting Rollins and Reigns for the personal beef that remains between them. Then Punk revealed there will be a three-way contract signing between all three men on Friday's edition of WWE SmackDown. A reminder, I'll be live for a watch-along and post-show for that too, so be sure to join us. You can click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, you'll be notified when we go live on Friday. We found out who Jey Uso's tag team partner was last night on Raw. The Usos reunited as a tag team for the first time in a year and a half to defeat A-Town Down Under during WWE Raw. In the weeks leading up to Jey Uso challenging Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Uso has found himself feuding with the pair of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory as of late. He defeated them both in singles action during Raw during recent weeks. But this week he was scheduled to face the pair of them with a mystery partner to be revealed, which wound up being his brother Jimmy Uso for their first traditional tag team match with one another since July 2023. The bout itself proved to be a fairly evenly fought contest, characterized by the Usos making a babyface comeback after a spell being frustrated and isolated. Waller and Theory sought to slow the pace down, while the Usos looked to rally with fast and furious offense, pulling into the final stretch on the same page as Jimmy fed Waller to Jay for a spear, followed by the double team 1D on Theory for the pinfall victory. A-Town Down Under didn't take the defeat while launching a post-match attack on the Usos, which was capitalized on by the emerging Gunther. Jay broke free of Gunther and set him up for a spear, slipping on the mat and needing his brother to make the save. Later in the night, Jimmy appeared in a backstage segment to give Jay some hard criticism, going on to challenge Gunther to a singles match next week. The last time the Usos were teaming together was at Crown Jewel 2023, where Jay pinned Roman Reigns to beat the Tribal Chief and Solo Sikoa. Jimmy ultimately cost his brother that title match, aligning with Reigns once more and splitting the Usos until they reunited alongside their cousin at Crown Jewel and Survivor Series in November last year. Now, Bianca Belair, she's got a big role next week on Raw. The WrestleMania 41 build for the Women's World Championship continued on Raw on Monday, when it was announced that Rhea Ripley will get her rematch for the gold against Io Sky next week. Bianca Belair is set to serve as the guest referee for the bout. All three women confronted General Manager Adam Pearce in the ring following last week's contract signing, where Ripley signed her name on the document, attempting to make the WrestleMania match a triple threat. Pearce went out to address the crowd and said Ripley's signature did not make the match at WrestleMania official, and explained he had been attempting to nail down her rematch for weeks, but Ripley only wanted it on her time. Sky came out and said it didn't matter who she was facing. Belair followed shortly and complained that Ripley didn't earn her spot like she did by winning the Women's Elimination Chamber. Ripley's music then hit and said that she didn't care if her match was at WrestleMania or who she faced, she just wanted her title back. Pearce said he had a solution for everything and said Ripley would get a rematch next week and the winner would face Belair at WrestleMania. The woman brawled in the ring to end the segment, but Pearce wasn't done making the announcements. He told Belair backstage that she was set to referee the championship match on Raw next week so she could call things right down the middle. Now, there was title action on Raw. Both sets of Intercontinental Championships were on the line. First, let's talk about the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Current WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Raquel Rodriguez sought to add another title to her waist as she took on Lyra Valkyria in a fight for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Despite match interference from a ringside Liv Morgan, the high-flying Valkyria came out of Glasgow still the Women's Intercontinental Champion. While the match's opening saw even offense from both parties, Rodriguez's strength quickly overwhelmed the champion. Valkyria's first attempt at top rope offense was soiled by a big boot from Rodriguez, who cinched in a bear hug on her to weaken the champion. Valkyria tried to lift Rodriguez up for the Nightwing several times during the match, but after every failure, her hopes of retaining the title dwindled. Valkyria made a small comeback with a violent DDT onto Rodriguez, but Morgan quickly placed Rodriguez's foot on the bottom rope during the subsequent pin cover to prolong the contest. Rodriguez revived herself enough to try and land a big boot onto Valkyria, but Valkyria ran the ropes to dodge and attack Morgan inside. Rodriguez attempted to avenge her fallen ally with a Tijuana bomb, but the wily Valkyria shifted her weight to turn the finisher attempt into a roll-up pin for the victory. After the match, an irate Morgan stormed to the ring to lay hands on the champion. Rodriguez joined the fight, but Bayley, who had been seen talking to Valkyria before the match, quickly arrived to even the odds. With the role model's help, Valkyria ended the night standing tall. Monday's match with Rodriguez marked Valkyria's third title defense in her 70-day reign as the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion. Rodriguez joins Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile as Valkyria's most recent victories. Valkyria's next challenger has yet to be announced. Now, Raw next week will be in London, England. As I mentioned, we will have a post-show and a live watch-along for that event, so be sure to join us on the channel. Click the subscribe button, click the notifications, you'll be notified when we go live. First, the Women's World Championship, as we mentioned earlier on, will be up for grabs as Io Sky defends the title against Rhea Ripley in a singles contest. Notably, Bianca Belair will serve as the special guest referee for the match. The winner of the match will go on to defend the title against Belair at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, Nevada at Allegiant Stadium. Also, Cody Rhodes and John Cena will face off once again as we get closer to WrestleMania. They'll be going face-to-face for the third week in a row. Furthermore, Jimmy Uso will take on World Heavyweight Champion Gunther in a one-on-one contest. As previously announced, Logan Paul will turn up to call out AJ Styles. Let's talk about the ratings for Friday's edition of SmackDown. Now, of course, as always, the show aired live internationally on Netflix, but in the United States aired in its usual start time of 8 p.m. Eastern on USA Network. WWE's tour of Europe continued this past Friday with the March 21st episode of WWE SmackDown. For the first time in 18 years, the company's blue brand had emanated from Italy, and the first time that Bologna had hosted a WWE televised event. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton made their WrestleMania match official. Braun Strowman's disqualification victory over Jacob Fatu earned him a WWE United States Championship match, and a mass brawl between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins closed out the show. Much like the March 14th episode, SmackDown aired live for many international viewers before airing on tape delay in the United States, which could be a reason as to why the show saw another drop in ratings. According to the Programming Insider and WrestleNomics, the March 21st episode averaged 1.459 million viewers, down 7% from the previous week and 14% lower than the trailing 4-week average of 1.695 million viewers. Not only did SmackDown earn the lowest average viewership since the episode aired on Valentine's Day, but it also earned the lowest number in the 18 to 49 demographic of 2025 so far, posting a 0.39 number. This is down 25% from 7 days earlier and the trailing 4-week average of a 0.52, but SmackDown did face tough competition in the form of March Madness college basketball games that dominated the ratings on Friday night. Of the top 10 primetime telecasts across all stations, 9 of the top spots went to basketball, with SmackDown finishing in 8th place, while also taking 5th place in the cable rankings for the night. SmackDown will remain in Europe for this week's episode that takes place in London, England, where LA Knight will defend the WWE United States Championship against the aforementioned Braun Strowman, and the Street Profits will defend the WWE Tag Team Championships against Pretty Deadly. Now, we said that the Intercontinental Championship, both sets were on the line last night in Raw, and the Judgment Day ruined the men's title match. Penta, as noted by Kathy Kelly, WWE's fastest rising star, has sought to continue his undefeated streak against Bron Breakker. The two rising superstars took Monday's Glasgow-based episode of WWE Raw to compete for Breakker's Intercontinental Championship. By the time the show's credits rolled, it was Dominic Mysterio, Carlito, and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day standing tall over all. Mysterio and Carlito quickly made their presence and interest in Penta as a Judgment Day member known as they waltzed ringside shortly after the opening bell, but Breakker and Penta remained undeterred by Mysterio and Carlito's appearance. The two waged war against each other for Glasgow, with Breakker picking up plenty of early offense. Penta began to pick up steam after rocking Breakker with 2 super kicks before reversing a fireman's carry into a backstabber for a 2 count. Penta set up for a Mexican Destroyer in the corner, but Breakker stopped Penta's signature move in its tracks with a military press. While Penta eventually landed his signature Mexican Destroyer, Breakker recovered to set up for his signature spear. Things quickly unraveled when Mysterio and Carlito stormed the ring. Carlito was sufficiently flattened by an irate Breakker, and Mysterio, with the Intercontinental Championship dreams of his own, began striking Breakker. Finn Balor appeared at ringside, next with a steel chair in hand. With Breakker sufficiently outnumbered, Mysterio offered the chair and a spot in the Judgment Day to Penta. Mysterio found himself at the end of a chair shot as Penta tossed the steel chair back into him before leveling him with a super kick. The Judgment Day responded in kind by beating down Penta to close the show. Breakker ultimately retained the Intercontinental Championship via disqualification, but the contender scene for the title remains tense as Penta, Mysterio, and Balor all emerge as viable challengers. Now, we had heard something about this prior to last night's episode of Monday Night Raw in the form of a report from Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp. Now, WrestleMania season, of course, is upon us, and the Intercontinental title scene is indeed heating up. Now, as we knew going into last night's Raw, there was going to be this match between Penta and Bron Breakker, but there are changes to these plans. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, the working plan as of the title match last week, which was Finn Balor versus Bron Breakker for the Intercontinental Championship, was actually a 4-way at WrestleMania, with Bron Breakker versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Breakker faced Balor, Penta challenged Breakker, Dominic tried to get Penta into the Judgment Day and also glared at the title during the Balor Breakker match. So, of course, it looks like this is the direction that we're heading in towards WrestleMania. Now, switching over to AEW here, and a bit of an update when it comes to plans for Chris Jericho. Since the turn of the new year, Ring of Honor World Champion Chris Jericho has been locked in a feud with former Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito. The two men already fought over the title on the February 22nd episode of AEW Collision, which saw Jericho retain the gold, but he's upped the ante when he's masked foe by humiliating Bandito's brother Gravity by stealing his mask and beating him up in front of their own mother at Revolution. This is all leading to an eventual rematch rematch for the Ring of Honor World Championship, and according to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, the bout isn't too far away. Quote, so they're either going to do Jericho and Bandito at the Dynasty show or at Supercard of Honor, which they announced for Atlantic City May 2nd. When the match eventually happens, it will actually be the third singles meeting between Jericho and Bandito, as their first bout, which was also for the Ring of Honor World Championship, took place back in September 2022, with Jericho also walking away the winner in what was Bandito's debut for AEW. The feud between Jericho and Bandito could have ended much sooner, as it was supposed to start much earlier. After missing 18 months of action due to a serious wrist injury, Bandito returned to wrestling at the Ring of Honor Final Battle event in December, but in his pursuit of Jericho, he suffered a concussion coming off the top rope and was forced to miss an extra month of action. Since then, he has only lost one match, that being the aforementioned match with Jericho, and is closing in on becoming only the 8th man in history to hold the Ring of Honor World Championship on more than one occasion. Now, going back to Raw last night, we saw the in-ring debut of El Grande Americano. El Grande Americano has won his singles debut. Just hours after his signature video package aired on the show, El Grande Americano made his singles debut on the March 24th edition of WWE Raw, defeating Dragon Lee in a singles contest. Americano ended up scoring the submission victory in the match, making Lee submit with an ankle lock after ripping his mask off. After the finish, commentary was quick to point out that El Grande Americano shares the same finishing move with Chad Gable. Now, there was some criticism of the presentation of Chad Gable, El Grande Americano, last night. WWE has been criticized for allegedly using generative AI to create the video package for El Grande Americano, which aired on the March 24th edition of Raw from Glasgow, Scotland. Now, he made his debut. He's been making his debut in recent weeks, hasn't he? And a video package explained the wrestler's origins, noting they were a Lucha Libre star on the same level of Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras, who hailed from the Gulf of America. El Grande Americano disappeared, though, after he was blackballed from the industry by his jealous enemies until resurfacing on WWE television. While not confirmed, the video package appeared to have been produced using generative AI, as it featured many of the trademarks of those videos, including human hands having more than 5 fingers, as can be seen during the video package itself. This did draw some criticism on social media from fans tuning in to Monday Night Raw. Did it bother you that much? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. A bit of an update here when it comes to Vince McMahon, and if he still consumes the WWE product. Although he is no longer watching every main roster WWE show like he was when he was the head of WWE Creative, Vince McMahon reportedly still occasionally watches WWE programming. That is according to Sean Ross Sapp, who noted on a Fightful Select Q&A that he has heard Vince McMahon will occasionally tune into WWE TV. After being asked about Vince McMahon's feelings on the current WWE product, Sean Ross Sapp said, quote, I've not heard about his feelings about anything like that, but I have heard that occasionally he'll watch and stuff like that. Sean Ross Sapp added, though, that it does not serve anybody within WWE well to inform him they have a relationship with Vince McMahon. Quote, I want to say this sincerely. There's no motivation for anybody in WWE to tell me they have any type of relationship, connection, or conversation with Vince McMahon. Whether it be true or not within WWE, it doesn't serve anybody well to tell me, a reporter, they have or maintain any real relationship with that man, because it just doesn't serve them well. So at least everybody that I talk to claims they don't hear from Vince, talk to Vince, or anything like that. Nobody that I've heard from claims they talk to Vince. Now, Vince McMahon, of course, is no longer involved in the day-to-day running of WWE following his resignation as TKO Executive Chairman in January 2024 after he was accused of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and physical and emotional abuse by former WWE employee Janelle Grant. The lawsuit against McMahon, WWE, and John Laurinaitis remains ongoing. And finally, a bit of an update here when it comes to the roast of WrestleMania and the backstage reaction to the announcement of the event. The announcement that Tony Hinchcliffe would be hosting a roast of WrestleMania following Night 2 of WrestleMania 41 generated somewhat of a conversation on social media, with some criticising the decision for WWE to work with the controversial comedian. That same outrage did not take hold within the company, however. Sean Ross Sapp noted on a Fightful Select Q&A that there were some eye rolls amongst people within WWE, but most people within the company just don't care about Hinchcliffe hosting the post-WrestleMania 41 event. Quotes, honestly, there were some eye rolls, but most people in WWE just don't care, to be honest with you, and Tony knows a lot of those people in WWE, and they get along with him. I haven't heard the same outrage internally as I have online, Sean Ross Sapp said. So for those that are expecting the event to not go on or anything like that, that looks like that's not going to be the case. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. A reminder, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking the join button. Links in the video description. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Gaming is coming very, very soon, exclusively for members of the WN365 roster. So be sure to join our roster. As you can see in the sidebar, we've got several upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows which are going to be live on the channel, beginning with SmackDown on Friday from London, England. We'll be going live 15 minutes before we go on the air for that one. In addition to that, too, we'll have a watch-along and a post-show for Monday Night Raw this coming Monday as well, once again from London, England. We've got other Raws and SmackDowns as we get closer to WrestleMania that we're going to be live for. AEW Dynasty is coming up soon. We'll be doing a watch-along and a post-show for that. And some more live content could be on the horizon soon, so stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.